Hello and welcome to another May Arts video tutorial. This week I wanted to make a little quick video about stamping on ribbon because we're teaming up with Fawn for a blog week with them. So I have one of my favorite stamp sets from Fawn here. I'm a huge fan of Fawn and I have a ton of their stamp sets, but this is one of my favorites. It's the Frosties stamp set, and it comes with 2 sentiments and a whole bunch of snowflakes, including a snowflake border, a little flourish here, and then a corner as well. But I took 3 of these snowflakes. I took this one, this one, and this one, and have mounted them on clear blocks. And then I have some silk ribbon, the SK09 cream silk ribbon, 1.5 inches wide, from May Arts, and I'm just going to do some stamping on it. I'm going to use some Hero Arts Pool ink, soft pool ink, and I'm going to use a lighter color, but you could do something darker. A lighter one just makes it easier. The impression doesn't need to be absolutely perfect. So you see, I'm just going to take my stamp and go along my ribbon. I've cut out a piece that I kind of measured by just wrapping it around my card to see how much ribbon I needed. And I'm just going to go along this border. I'm not measuring or anything like that. In fact, I'll put these 2 really close together, and then this one really far apart. And I always go in with my biggest stamp first, and then go back with my smaller stamps, because you can always add more in, but it's hard to add in the bigger stamps later. So I have the big one, and now we'll go in with the medium. And it's very, very simple. You could use multiple colors of ink, but I really like the just regular tone-on-tone look that this gives you. Just really sweet and cute. And you might get a little bit of the extra ink absorbing into the ribbon, but that is okay. And just keep stamping along. It's very, very easy. And by using an ink that dries quickly like a dye ink, and that really doesn't bleed too much, you're going to get a perfect stamped image. So just use one. Chalk inks might work alright, but they might be too juicy. So something like Distress ink or the Hero Hues shadow inks work really, really well for this type of project. So now I'm just going to go in with my smallest snowflake. And this is a perfect way to change up your plain ribbons, especially your silk ribbon, which is my absolute favorite, for any time of year or any occasion. And that's why I love having so many plain neutral ribbons on hand at all times. You just have so many options, and you don't need to buy individual rolls for each type of theme. Even if, well, if you wanted to, of course you could. So here is the completed ribbon. You can see, let me see if I can get a close-up here. We have the completed ribbon. And this will be ready to tie around your card in just a couple seconds. I'm just going to set it off to the side for now to dry. And I'll clean off my craft mat. Actually, you know what, I'll just keep the extra ink on it because I'm going to be doing some more inking. I have a piece of watercolor paper. This is from Simon Says Stamp. And I'm going to cover my paper with some tumbled glass. And this is just because I wanted to give I just wanted my ribbon to be the center stage of my card. So I'm just going to make a simple blue background. I went over it directly to the paper with my tumbled glass ink, and now I'm just going to go back and get into the crevices with my blending tool. And I apologize, I have a little sniffle, so that's why my voice is a little weird this week. And next I'll go in with some broken china and add some more color, especially to the edges. And then lastly I'll go in with some faded jeans distress ink and just really make those edges pop. I'm kind of using the foam tool at an angle, and that'll just keep it from getting harsh lines where I blend. So that is perfect. And now actually I'm going to go in with my largest snowflake and just stamp a couple times in the background. And this is just meant for a tone-on-tone look. Nothing really exciting, but just kind of a cute pattern. And I'll go back in with my medium snowflake just to fill in a couple of areas that didn't get enough of image in them. And then since this is watercolor paper, we can get it wet. So I have some Perfect Pearl Mist, which I just mixed some Perfect Pearls in water. I mix that up really well. And then I'm going to spritz once or twice, or, you know, a couple times over the background, and that'll make it nice and wet. And then I'm going to take a paintbrush, I just spritz some on my craft mat, and I'm going to flick it onto my paper. And this will just leave a nice little sprinkling of extra concentrated Perfect Pearls on the paper itself. And you'll see, wow, that pool ink just really pops out. It's very exciting. So you have this fantastic background, and now you just let it dry for a couple minutes. We didn't put too much water on there, so it shouldn't take more than 5 to 10 minutes to dry. And you can even use a heat gun to speed it up if you want. So I'll be back in a second when I'm ready to assemble my card. Alright, so now that our background's dry, and you can see that it left this awesome, like, splotches of wonderful metallicness. And the pool ink just really popped out when I sprayed it with water. I don't really know why it did that, but I know that it's a technique that I'm definitely going to use in the future because it's really cool. And we have our ribbon, and I'm just going to just about center it, leave a little bit more on this right side, and have it come up about a 1/2 inch. I've already added adhesive to the back, so that's why it's sticking to my work surface. And now I'm just going to tie a little knot. You can tie a bow if you want, but I'm feeling like a knot would be the perfect addition to this card. And you can actually go with either side of the ribbon up, right side up, because the dye ink will sink through to the other side, and it will show up either side. And then I'll just take my fabric scissors and trim off the ends. Perfecto. And maybe trim this down a little bit more. So it's all about making it look how you want it to. And then I have this little banner that I've cut out here with some white cardstock. And I'm going to take some old paper, Distress ink, just to make it match my silk ribbon, and I'm going to kind of dab it on here. So this makes the perfect cream cardstock. And you can control exactly how cream it is. And I've stamped my sentiment from the same stamp set, the Frosties stamp set, in some Spice Tin ink. And I'm also going to be placing this on a piece of white cardstock, so I'm going to go around the edges with my old paper Distress ink as well. Alright, and now I can go ahead and adhere my little piece down to my card base. And if you just use Distress ink, the adhesive isn't going to want to stick down very well. So you can always add some liquid adhesive down, or just kind of wait for it to dry and then stick it down a little bit better. But I'm going to go ahead and adhere everything together a little bit more using some foam adhesive for my sentiment. Alright, so now I have my sentiment adhered, and I just used some glossy accents to really adhere down the paper to the background. So this will really hold it down, and it holds pretty well, pretty permanently after about 5 or 10 seconds when you're adhering paper to paper. So that's pretty awesome. Now I'm going to take some gemstones from Hero Arts and add them to my card, and this will just add a nice finishing touch. So I'm going to add some right onto the center of the bow, as well as on my sentiment, and then in this corner up here, and that'll create a perfect triangle of embellishment. So So there we have our completed card, and it has this wonderful snowflake background and this really light colored snowflake ribbon. And it's really enjoyable, a really great way to add just enough of a touch to your silk ribbon to make it specifically themed for the card. So I hope you try this technique of stamping with dye ink on silk ribbon and see how it turns out for yourself. I'd love to see your creations. For more information, you can check out the Mayarts blog at mayarts.com/blog. And thank you so much for joining me. I'll catch you again next time on another Mayarts video tutorial.